I have met a lot of creators in my life, and the one theme I hear again and again is, who am I? I mean, I'm just some guy or some girl from some small town somewhere. Many of us question our capabilities and wonder if we have what it takes. My guest today asks the same questions, but she found the courage to show up over and over and over again. Exactly what creating requires. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with Elise and how she shares about choosing to say yes to poetry, writing authentically, remembering that it's not about the perfect poem, but rather about the truest poem. She explains that the beauty of writing is happening within her as she feels her emotions and gives them space on the page. If you have ever felt the nudge to create through painting, music, decorating, dancing, knitting, writing, baking, whatever it might be, this episode is for you. It'll remind you that you have what it takes and that now is the time to show up even in the busyness, to trust that spark and see where it can take you. Just like my beloved guest Elise did, through trusting her own knowing, her words have made it into the hearts of many, and soon so many more as she will be launching her first book next year. I am so grateful for the conversation we had, and I am really thankful you are here. Get ready to be inspired. Welcome to the Naked Podcast. Welcome to season 2 of the Naked Podcast, a space where ordinary people, just like you and me, share the moments that changed everything. This podcast was inspired by a conversation I had with my grandma, who once said, if more of us shared our stories, fewer of us would feel alone. And that's exactly what we do here. On Naked, we talk about all the things, the wins, the losses, the growth, and the struggles. These are raw, unfiltered conversations about the parts we rarely talk about but deeply connect us. We are grateful you are here as we open up about the moments that shaped us. This is the Naked Podcast. Well, thank you so much for being here. To all my listeners, thanks for joining us. I have an amazing guest that I am so excited to have on the podcast today. We have been working really hard at getting our timelines to coordinate to be here. And finally today it's worked out. So thank you, Elise, for joining me on the Naked Podcast and the community. And just for saying yes. I always get so excited and a deep amount of gratitude when I get to have these connections.
Of course, I'm so excited to be here.
No, it's great. I got to ask you though, because we always like to start with like, what are you drinking today? Did you have a chance to put something together in the months of
Yes, I
mom?
have
Yeah.
two I have two drinks. I meant to have three actually, but I ended up with two because of my toddler's meltdown. So I
Oh,
have a cup of tea
ooh,
and a coffee. So,
oh.
yep, I got my little it's like a little vanilla latte kind of thing and then I can't remember what kind of tea it is. I think it's like turmeric ginger, something like that, but
I like
yeah.
it. You got like a balance of the cold and the hot. It's like
I know.
perfect.
I'm like, let's see what the vibe is. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
probably
see where it
need
takes
both.
it. Yeah. I am not drinking anything too fancy. It's just a passion fruit because it's so easy to get here
Mm.
and it grows everywhere and it's just
Oh,
like it's
I
so
love
affordable. So you can
passion fruit.
right? Isn't it amazing? I love blueberries
Hmm.
and blackberries like we talked about, but they don't grow here
Yes.
and you can't get them here.
Yeah,
So
that's
I've got
crazy.
I know, right? So I got lime and passion fruit today. That's my
Yeah.
drink of
Oh,
choice.
that's a classic. Great choice.
hmm It's refreshing. It's really refreshing.
Yeah, totally.
Um, well, I'm gonna like. It's just the cool thing about what we do in life. I think just like what you do, you're a writer and you create poetry and all these
Hmm.
connections that you wouldn't otherwise have if you didn't step out and do the most courageous thing and put your art out into the world, which is how
Totally.
I like connected with you. And
Hmm.
I think in my first message to you, I said one of my friends had posted a story or reposted a story
Mm.
of yours about I will be forgoing hot girl summer, and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is my girl. Like I love what like the words you put together, and just the acceptance of what like summer should be and can be, and like embracing ourselves. And then I got looking at your
Totally.
writing, and I was like, oh my god, like you have this deep admiration and love for your grandmother, which I think that was like a
Mm.
instant bond and connection that we both thought were like our grandmas are just
Definitely.
like hold such a big spot in our hearts. So
For
I think
sure.
it's just so cool like what these connections can bring. So we just connected via Instagram, um
Yeah.
and you said yes, and it's just amazing to kind of weed through all of the things that you've put out into the world, and reading your words of just like
Oh,
depth
thank
and
you.
honesty. Yeah, no, thanks for what
Thank
you
you. That
do.
means the world to me. Yeah, it's definitely a scary thing to like as you know, like put yourself out there and like put your creativity like on the chopping block for anybody to see and love or hate. And yeah,
Mhm.
it's always like just means so much when somebody sees something of mine, reads a poem of mine, and connects with it, because it's like just like a little piece of my soul right there, you know? And it's
Mhm.
like it's not easy to want to do sometimes, to
No,
want to like
no.
post yourself online.
Yeah, a lot of questioning in that too, right? A lot of like,
Yeah,
is it
totally.
enough or am I enough? And it's
Oh, for
beautiful when
sure.
you just do it and then like you just touch people's hearts. I can imagine how many people saw that or see your work and are like, man, like you find ways to put feeling words to feelings that people can't really find the right descriptions for, but in your
Mm.
work it's like resonates.
And then, like,
Yeah.
vice versa, when people read my work and they're like, "Oh my god, I experienced that too. Like, that's totally me." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not alone. Like, this is my
Yeah.
specific experience that, like, I'm writing about." But then when people resonate with it, they feel less alone and I feel less alone, which is,
Yeah,
like,
that's
super
true.
magical for me.
Yeah, this like connection that comes through that, which is what this is about with Naked
Mhm.
Podcast, is like creating space for stories for people to just to tell about the time in their life when everything changed. And like I think in it you realize, oh, there's so many parallels in our journeys that don't we may live in different sides of the world or come from different backgrounds or
Totally.
cultures or religions or these things, but gosh, there's so much that intertwines our stories that we aren't alone, and that is so similar to the
Mhm.
person next to you or across the world that
For
oftentimes we
sure.
don't know because we just sit in the silence of it all. Before we get into it,
Yeah.
maybe you can tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do, and just a
Yeah.
snippet.
Well, my name's Elise Powers. I am a mother and a writer from Seattle, Washington. And let's see, I write a lot about womanhood, motherhood, relationships, body image, self acceptance, that kind of thing. And let's see what else. Whenever it's like, "Oh, who are you? What do you do?" It's like, I don't know." I have a book coming out in spring. The Size of Your
Congratulations.
Joy. Thank you. And yeah, I think that's all the key points.
That's great. That's a great snippet. I wonder, I don't know, when like, maybe you could start off by sharing the poem that I first like connected
Sure.
um, to you. I just think it's such a beautiful poem, and I would love for just yeah, we
Oh,
could
I'd
start
love
with that.
to.
Amazing.
Sure. Okay. All right. I will be foregoing hot girl summer in exchange for crusty baguette and triple cream brie girl summer. Dirt moons under my nails, iced coffee in a jam jar. Yes, only when I mean it, girl summer. Too much flaky salt, toast thick as my wrist, girl summer. Kiss my baby in the garden. Rosemary prayer between my palms. Let the email sit, girl summer. Paperback in my purse, watch the jasmine claim the house. Splitting fat figs on my tongue, girl summer. Thighs stuck to the lawn chair, basil tops, peach soft, deep breath. No bra, girl summer. Dishes can wait, ugly with joy, girl summer. Hips ripened on the vine, girl summer. Settle into the body that is mine, girl summer.
Oh, I love it so much. What was your
Thank you.
like? What sparked that?
Um, honestly, like I've seen online a lot. There's kind of a resurgence of like the skinny talk and like all the kind of body image issues that I had struggled with in, my teens and 20s. Um, kind of, I could feel them like a little bit bubbling up with
Hmm.
uh the summer, like as
Yeah.
you're a bit more exposed, like it feels more vulnerable, like showing more skin. And just kind of, I felt like the state of the world was a bit um just like unsupportive of
Hmm. Yeah.
like I felt like there was a bit of a lean toward like skinny is back in.
Hmm.
And I kind of was just like, okay, let me take a step back and like think about like what actually matters in my summer, and none of it has to do with my body.
Mm.
And so yeah, that's kind of how it came about. I just got to thinking about like what my priorities were for like what I wanted to experience this summer, and
Wow.
just in life in general, but that was kind of the spark.
Yeah, that is so true.
Mhm.
I think a lot of
Mhm.
us can my daughters and I were just talking about this, how when I was younger, the idea of like skinny was better. It wasn't even about, it was just so many, I remember there being so many diet fads, and like every magazine was like how to do this in 29 days or whatever. And
Totally, I know.
right, like just so much of that, and it's just in your face. And then how do you not like have that be part of what you believe about yourself? And so it's
Mhm.
really good when there's voices. Like I showed this poem to my daughters, and they're like, wow, like I love that. And they're both in this season of wanting to be strong. Like they're like just like going to
Mhm.
taekwondo, and like like we don't
I
want to
love
be
that.
skinny. And it's someone like
Yeah.
yourself being like, it's a, like just be yourself and just embody
Yeah,
yourself. And
totally.
it's so amazing to
Mhm.
have voices like yourself that are reinstilling and kind of like giving permission, really giving permission to just like embrace who you are, um and not
Totally.
have to
Yeah,
be
that's really
something.
what my poetry is kind of about, and it's not coming from a place of like, "Oh, I do this, so here's how to do it." It's like I'm trying to give myself permission
Right.
to show up that way, you know?
Yeah, 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 no,
Mhm.
it's beautiful. And I think it's the voices we need more of, because there's a lot of the other, like you said too, that aren't really supporting that. So it's really, really
Yeah,
incredible.
totally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm interested, like when I messaged you originally, and it's like, this is what this is about. And I was really taken back by your response. You're just like, yes, like I'm there.
Sure.
And you're so like, sure. And I was like, I wonder if it just connected. You're like, no, like what part of that connected with you? Because a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are a portion of people who are really like, this is hard to sit here with somebody that they maybe don't know, and to share a part
Mhm.
of the life that maybe we don't talk about a lot. So
Mhm.
maybe it's part of the practice of what you do, just like your work. Um, but what part of that was like, yes, this is, I want to share.
I mean, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like the nature of what I do online is like so open and vulnerable anyway that like the invitation came and I was just like, yeah, that sounds like fun. Like this is writing poetry is like the most honest I've ever been with myself and like with the world and like just in general. Like it just like I have this kind of like a mantra or maybe something along those lines that I tell myself when I'm like kind of struggling with a poem. I'm just like, it doesn't matter if it's good, as
Mm,
long just like make it true. Just like as long as it's the truest thing that you can write, then it's not my business if it's like good.
mm-hmm,
And of course there's like other things that go along with that, like, knowledge of like form and structure and like all the poetry things,
mm-hmm,
the writing things. But yeah, I think that uh that tr- that it just I'm in a place right now where I'm doing what feels true and like what feels good, and like I something like this I was just like, "Oh yeah, this feels in alignment with like where I'm at, you know?"
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Did you have like the
Mhm.
moment when the question of like this podcast is about like when is the time in your life when everything changed? Did you have like a whole like list of things in your mind, like, oh shoot, which one do I pick? Or
Oh.
was it
Mhm.
or was it
You
very,
know, honestly, one thing in particular definitely came to mind. I did you want me to
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about? Okay, okay. Yeah, definitely the birth of my daughter.
Mm,
And I think that a lot of people can relate to that experience. It just changes everything.
yeah.
Um, but for me specifically, it changed my relationship to my creativity
Mm,
and writing. And I have a poem about it where I talk about that I was a writer who for 29 years didn't write.
hmm.
And that was kind of how it was. I had these
Wow.
like I was a super like perfectionist and just scared to like put myself out there, and like I always knew I was a writer,
Mm.
but just never really like wrote.
Wow.
Never really did anything to, to actually, move forward in that
Right.
practice. It was kind of just like eventually, like at some point I will, just like in the back of my mind. Um, but then I had my daughter and I don't know, just like everything kind of shifted my perspective on, I mean, everything.
Mm.
It was just kind of like a what am I doing? Like why am I not just like doing what I know I should be doing?
Yeah.
And so yeah, at 29 is when I started writing and
Like
really
publicly.
dedicating myself to my writing practice
Mm.
and putting myself out there and yeah, that was definitely like the inciting incident, my daughter's birth.
Wow. So that was like the
Hmm.
stirring of what had been sitting there your whole life,
Totally.
really. It just like came open.
Yeah. Yeah, and really just kind of like the floodgates opened where I just was like I can do anything with my life. Why am I not doing what I want to be doing?
Wow. Did you feel like like some of my friends talk about like coming into motherhood, it
Mhm.
even can start in like the pregnancy where you just have this like
Mhm.
courage and this like assertiveness that maybe you didn't have
Mhm.
before you had children, where you're just like, I don't know, it's I remember that one time I had to speak on a stage and I was pregnant with my first baby and I just was like typically I'm like very fearful of being in front of people and speaking, and I just felt like this
Mhm.
strength, like it just kind of was just there. And it's really beautiful how in your case it's just like it just kind of it's like you were a flower and then you just kind of bloomed out of that whole experience.
Yeah, honestly, it's much more beautiful to think of it like that, but I think of it as like I just got sick of my own bullshit. Where I just was like, can we just stop with like the scaredy cat, like, oh,
Mm,
what if people don't like me? Like, what if I'm not any good? It's like it's better to put yourself out there and like not good than to just never try because that's the real um losing situation. Like if you're
mhm,
doing it and if you're enjoying it, like I said before, it's none of my business if like my poems are good. Like I just am doing what I like to be doing and if people like them then amazing, and if they don't then like that's just something I have to let pass over me. And um yeah, the real winning thing is that I'm uh, leaning into my creativity and like who I want to be.
mhm, mhm.
Hmm.
So so interesting when you like um, follow those leads. I heard this author say he's like the words in the bin and the words in the book have the same value. It's like
I love that.
it's not about like you said hoping someone's going to like it, but it's like about the work that it does inside of you. Like you said, it's this connection that you've had with yourself that is the most honest and
Totally.
the most real.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
yeah, can create this surge of healing and awakening and perspectives can come from just doing the thing that is most calling you, which in your case is
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah, and
And
the hardest thing sometimes is like just kind of putting yourself out there like that. And just to go back to what you said before about motherhood, kind of like bringing that out in people, I would say that childbirth really kind of
mm.
brought that like ferocity out in me where I just was like, let's just do this. It's like I'm capable of literally anything after that. So it was like you can't hurt me. Like I gave birth to
Hmm.
a human. Like I don't care if you don't like my poem. I'm just gonna write it.
So was the first
So
time you
yeah.
actually put your work out into the world after you had her?
Yeah, yeah. It was let's see. I think it was oh She must have been just about, I might be getting this timeline totally wrong. The first year is just
Okay.
like a total blur.
Yeah.
But she might have been a year old, something along those lines. Yeah, I think she was just about a year old
Okay.
when I decided to like make my Instagram and like do all of that. But it was just a couple months after she was born that I started writing again and actually like um doing things with my notes. A lot of the time previously they were just kind of like random notes in my
Mm,
phone, like little observations or lines of a poem, just like things that never really became anything. And I think the first time that I actually like wrote a poem like start to finish, and like edited it and like made it into a piece of art,
yeah.
was probably like a couple months after she was born.
Okay. Okay. And how long's it been
Mhm.
since then? Like, how old is your daughter now?
She's 2.5.
Okay, so like the last 2-ish years that you've really, I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah.
that you've really dove into it. Wow.
Yeah, that I really like committed to it and actually, sit have a writing practice and like do the things um that I need to do in order to like make a poem and not just like let them be
Mm.
uh 2 sentence drafts
Right.
in my notes app, you
Notes.
know.
Yeah, I know all about that. Hang tight. We'll be back after this short break. Season 2 is finally here. When I first started the Naked podcast, I honestly had no idea where it would lead us. I just knew that honest conversations really do matter. Somewhere along the line, I realized that the best parts often happen after we stop recording, the quieter moments, the ones you don't plan for. So this season, I'm inviting my guests to stay a little longer for those conversations. I am so excited to share that the Naked podcast now has a Patreon, a space with extended episodes, written versions of my solo pieces, and a few of the things I am building just for you. If this show has moved you, made you feel seen, or just kept you company, I'd love for you to join me there. All the details are in the show notes, just a little invitation to stay a bit longer. As we take this short break, think about someone who might need this story in their ears today and pass it on. Now, let's get back into it.
Yeah.
What is the hardest thing you've had to face in like starting this new journey?
Um, let's see. Honestly, I think the hardest thing has just been um having the courage to just like continue to, post online and
Mm,
like I write about a lot of really vulnerable things and like um pretty uh um I don't want to say it, like the word invasive is coming to mind, where I just like I'm really letting the writer or the reader in
mm,
on some vulnerable uh pieces of my life. And
right.
so posting it on Instagram is like just really scary,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's a there's some, of course, that are, a bit too vulnerable for Instagram, that have like made it into the book, but like really
Mm.
will never hopefully be on the internet, at least by my hand.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think just like dealing with all of that and like being able to navigate that in a healthy way. There's definitely been some like mean comments and like Reddit threads, and just like nothing too crazy, just like the nature of being online and
Right.
like putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
So I think getting past that has been the hardest thing, but honestly it
Mm.
hasn't been too crazy. It really is just like, you know just continuing to do it, continuing the practice.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, are you the kind of person when it comes to writing that like the muse hits you at, a certain time of day where it's like, oh, I get up every morning at 5, like that's my little time? Or do you find it just kind of finds you and all of a sudden you're sitting in your car and you're like, oh, shoot, I write this down?
Yep, that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, I really just with my daughter, I don't have like f- you know, moments to myself where I really can like sit down and write.
Yeah.
Um so I just really am always writing in
Mm.
the notes app of my phone. I just am constantly writing, like a line will come to me and I'll just like jot it down and then I just kind of like do you know, do type away in my spare time and then um if I have a moment on my computer, I'll like get on and like, do some down and dirty editing.
Yeah.
But mostly I just am always writing on the go and like just little like moments stolen.
Little snippets along the way,
Mhm.
like little
Totally.
one-liners that now don't stay in your notes. They don't stay in like one-liners,
Yes,
but you take them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, some do. Some never really make it into a into a poem, but a lot of the time it's just like a matter of like staying with it and just like letting it develop into um you know a proper form.
Mhm.
Into a
What
finished
I'm
form.
into finished form, and you can actually put it out into the world and now into a
Yeah,
book,
exactly.
which is so incredible.
Yes, yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
did that something that you like when you started this journey, you were like, "Oh, that's my goal," or were you like, did this just
I
surprise you? Was this
mean,
a in a sense?
yeah, it definitely was a surprise. I studied English literature and writing studies in school,
Okay.
and it's always been like a dream, like just kind of like a far off um, dream. At some point I would love to kind of thing. But when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get on this. I need to write this book. It was actually my publisher reached out to me
Wow.
after submitting. I had submitted to their poetry prize, and they ended up selecting like a lot of the poems that I had submitted,
Okay.
and they ended up publishing two in the anthology. But afterwards, the publisher reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, we really love your work. Do you have a manuscript?" And I didn't. I didn't have a manuscript, just kind of like a loose collection of like poems that I'm like, this is probably good enough to go in a book.
Yeah.
And so she was like, "Well, are you interested in publishing a book?" And I was like, I mean, yes, like that's the
Yeah.
dream. Traditional publishing for a poet is like, yeah, if the opportunity presents itself, like you gotta jump on it.
Totally.
Um, so yeah, I got to work and I wrote my book and edited the poems that I had already and really just like got it uh got it nailed in. So yeah, we're in the like line editing process
Okay.
now. So I
Okay.
submitted my manuscript in July and
Okay.
now it's like going through some rounds of editing and um uh then it'll be out in April 21st.
Wow, that's so exciting, like Easter time. Was it hard to select what poems this book was gonna hold in amongst all of the things that you've written?
um Y- yes and no. At first, really not that difficult because I kind of write about some very specific themes, where it was pretty easy to group them together and like kind of create a story and a narrative and uh but like now now that with like arranging and like the
Mm,
sections and now that we're in like the nitty gritty of it all, it does get really hard to like decide what stays and what goes. um and there have been some like last minute cuts where I wasn't like I wrote the poem specifically for the book, but it's like
oh,
it just wasn't fitting anymore, and then I choose this poem from over here that I wrote like a year ago that was kind of random, but like it just fit into the story arc
mm,
or whatever. So yeah, that's been really interesting, is like getting into the fine tooth comb kind of details
mhm.
that's been difficult.
The hard part.
But like as far as like gathering the poems, it was kind of like, just everything that I had written,
Mhm.
and then filling in the gaps that of the story that I wanted to tell in this book.
Oh, that's cool. So
Hmm.
what if someone's like listeners here listening to you kind of explain it, what would if you could find like a sentence or two to explain what the book is, or what do you hope people feel when they read the book maybe?
Well, this book is um is really about the um the feeling of holding joy and sorrow together.
Mm,
Um, I think that it's a lot of things. It's it's definitely a book about motherhood and family and relationships and finding self.
mm,
Um, but above all, I think it's that like complicated um, mix of emotions that we just all kind of know, but like it's not the most named, where it's just
mm,
like that joy and grief kind of mingling together.
mm.
In in your daily life kind of thing.
I love that thought, and that idea of like both can coexist
Mhm.
in life, because I think sometimes there can be a lot of um, I don't know, maybe it's our own unspoken expectations about what life should look like, that like the two shouldn't dance, and we shouldn't
Mhm.
sit in
Totally.
the negative, the sorrow. We might look at that as the more negative. We shouldn't sit in that too long. And so there
Mhm.
can be like this constant reaching out of it, when you can realize like the beauty of them co-inhabiting. Like there's a can be a togetherness in that, and that's okay.
Totally. Yeah, and I think the expectation that you should always just be like happy is like not realistic and is kind of hard to like uh live up to.
Hmm.
Like you it's kind of like a like when I was a kid, always just had this like goal to just like I just want to be happy. I just want to be
Hmm.
happy. And it's like that's just not how life is.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard when you don't really uh know how to like verbalize that, or how um it's like a like just one of those things that like people kind of don't really um talk about, like living together, I guess, you know.
Right. Yeah. No, they don't.
Hmm.
No. Do you find that's given you so much permission in your own journey to embrace, like, even I was talking to a friend yesterday about like motherhood. It's like the most amazing thing in the whole world, and it
Hmm.
requires things of you that you never knew you even could offer. And it
Totally.
has this constant sense of awe and wonder as you watch your kids like grow and discover and like see their hands for the first time and take their first steps and then
Hmm.
like do all these firsts. But there's also this deep like demand from the body and from the
Yeah.
mind, and that it's requires things of you that you didn't know you could do on like 2 hours of sleep for months on end, and like I saw
Totally.
you talking about like breastfeeding and like that change and like that
Hmm.
whole season of changing, of like like there's a sadness that comes with that, because you know that that's not going to that season's over, but with that comes a new one. And so
Totally.
there's all this like blend of motherhood that has this aches and excitement and pains and absolute awe. And it never ends. I don't think, like talking to my grandma, like she's like, I've never stopped thinking about my kids. I never stopped, praying for them, because they're always in my mind, even
Hmm.
at 90. And I think like
Hmm. Totally.
you just don't realize that it's like forever. You're like, you
Yeah,
always have
definitely.
these poles in motherhood. And it's so beautiful that you're like creating the space. I love the name of your book, by the way. Um,
Thank you.
it's so great. And like knowing the idea of, yeah, holding space for both, and not having to feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I think motherhood is a perfect example of that, and, like, the duality of, like, emotion where it's just like, this is the, like, best thing that's ever
Mm.
happened to me, and also, like, the hardest thing that has ever happened to me.
Totally, totally. There
Yeah.
isn't they're in the same, yeah, space. And
Yeah, for
and that's, I
sure.
mean, life, I think too, like you said, even as a child, like
Totally.
that want to be like, I need to be
Mhm.
happy, you know?
Yeah.
And what does that look like? And sometimes it's not boisterous, sometimes it's quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think, like, embracing the seasons has definitely been something, that, like, the different seasons of life, like ebbs and flows, that's all come much later in
Mm,
life. When I was young, I was always just like, oh, I just really want to be happy. But it's like, I think that there's a lot of freedom that comes when you are able to just kind of be like, this is life, this, like,
mhm.
is what it is. Like, I will be happy again. Today I'm sad. It's just like a, like teaching my toddler emotions. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're really sad right now, but you'll be happy again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it just kinda comes and goes, and not holding any kind of shame over that when we feel, like, super sad and
Totally.
overwhelming feelings that we're like, "I don't know," you know, and then it changes.
Mhm. Always, I know. I
Always.
always have to remind myself it's not forever. Like, you feel bummed right now, but, like, this you'll forget about this at some point.
Mhm. It'll feel like such a can feel like such a giant hill, and then later on, you're like, "Oh, it was just like tiny little I don't even really see it. It's just such a small
Totally.
thing that came and went." Um, if you were talking to your younger self about life and about writing, what would you want her to know? So if someone's listening and it's like, "Oh my gosh, like I am you, but I'm 15 or, I'm 25."
Mm.
What's the one thing you'd want them to know?
About, like, my writing specifically, is that kind of what you have in mind?
It could be writing, but
Or
it could
just,
just
like,
be
generally
about,
speaking?
yeah, it could be just about, like, when you look back, like, I often ask myself this question, like, what is my older self saying to
Mhm.
me? And what would I say to my younger self about life and about, like, the journey of existing and being?
Hmm. This is gonna sound so silly. But honestly, something that really helps me, I am just kind of, someone who tends to take things really seriously all the time. I just everything kind of feels like life or death, like, must be the right decision. I think
Mm.
that, I know that I've always struggled with perfectionism, and, like, I'm a first child, like, always, like, the I want things to go in a certain order.
Yeah.
So, I think that something that would really help my younger self is just saying, like, it's not that serious.
Mm.
Just,
Totally.
like, do what you want to do, be who you want to be, like, wear what you want to wear. It's not that serious.
Mm.
And I think that, I don't know if that might just be very specific to my
No.
situation. But yeah, that's something that tends to help me. I'm a big overthinker, and so now I kind of have learned to remind myself that, like, just chill out a little bit. It's not that
Mm.
serious, you
Mm.
know.
Is that something you kind of discovered as you've been writing? Like, just because you were saying earlier, like you didn't write for so long. You knew that you were a writer, but you just didn't write because you're so
Mhm.
meticulous about specifics. Do you find that
Mhm.
writing has changed that understanding?
Totally. Yeah. I just when you're putting yourself out there online, you just, like, you really can't take it too seriously. And
Mm.
when I say take it too seriously, I mean take any of it, like the praise and the negativity,
Mm.
because that's not, that, like, can't be what I do it for.
Yeah.
If I write only for praise, then I'm not writing, um, the most important poems that I and the most important stories that I need to tell.
Hmm.
And like I said before, like, there's poems in in my book that will probably never be on Instagram, at least not from me posting them,
Right.
because they just are not like uh, Instagram poems,
Mhm.
a bit too vulnerable, too long, whatever it might be. Um, and yeah, that's just uh, things that I write. I can't uh, hold them to any other standard other than just like what
Oh yeah.
I have to just be writing for myself.
Yes.
And just be worried about what I think of it and if it feels good to me, if it feels done to me. And then, I put it out there, and if people love it, then like amazing. And if people hate it, then like I just have to like let that go, because like none of it can really be any of my business. Otherwise,
Mm.
it just would drive me crazy. And yeah, I wouldn't be writing authentically.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because it would be for um, other people's approval,
Right. Right.
which
Which
I
can
think
be
would
like,
probably lead to really lame poetry anyway. So.
yeah. Did you find like for somebody who's um yeah, I'm in this end writing journey myself and it's like
Mhm.
do you find that when you write vulnerable pieces, which it seems like you do a lot of, but at the beginning when you started to share those things that you could feel like people's faces that maybe knew you a different way and what their expectations of you or that maybe perhaps like I don't want to say disappointment, but
Mm.
do, do
Mhm.
you know what I
Like
mean?
family and friends, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's been an interesting piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
I write sometimes about my mom and my sister, and I write about my grandmother a lot, although my grandma and my grandmother have passed away, so they don't get to tell me if they
Yeah.
like if they like it or not.
Oh,
But yeah, navigating um like the people who you love, like I just as I mentioned, like you can't worry about what people um think of you. That's like a totally different ball game when it's your friends
yeah.
and family, because these are your people.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I definitely was really nervous at first when I like first started posting my work, because not just in like in the like for example, like writing about my mom, like I didn't
Mhm.
I was like nervous about her reading about herself kind of thing. But like beyond that level of it, just like worrying about people judging me, and like people in my real life knowing um the some more vulnerable moments in my life.
Yeah.
It's definitely a weird thing to be navigating, but I just kind of honestly have to not think about it too hard.
Yeah.
Otherwise I kind of just let it um get to me. But it's one of those things that I'm just like, again, I just can't make it my business. Otherwise, um yeah, it just is not you know, it turns into a fear and a worry.
Yeah.
And then which of course leads to not not writing the most
Mm.
true thing,
Mhm.
um, and authentically to me. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, in terms of like writing about um, family and friends, like that's been super crazy. I think that the thing that's like the most important for me is to just make sure that I'm telling my side of
Mm.
the story, if I am like telling a story, or just always making sure to like be um kind of not gentle, but like kind of objective and fair, when I'm telling like sensitive stories about,
Yeah.
not myself.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely really nerve-wracking. It's people definitely you know, will be reading my work, who I'm nervous about. I'm
Mhm.
definitely like, my mom and my dad, like I'm kind of like, don't read my book. But of course I'm sure they're going to read it. It's just one
Yeah,
of those things. It's like, you know, is what it is.
it
That's
is.
kind of the price of writing about the things that I do and like having a relationship with my parents. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you found that to be like conversational starters with people in your life because it is so vulnerable and real that it's almost created like an openness to talk about the things that maybe otherwise would be really hard to kind of to dig into, like a bit of a healing or not?
Honestly, not at this point,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things that I'm kind of hoping might be. There's a lot of things that I have written that haven't made it to
Mm.
public,
Yeah.
view, that are kind of doing that work and like conversations behind the scenes kind of thing. But yeah, as far it's a really hard balance to strike with like healing through like writing about other people, like um like having my having your poetry be like a vehicle
Mm.
to a conversation, or a healing conversation like with family or friends or whatever. It's kind of a I feel like at this point I'm just in the boat.
Yeah.
And like if people are reading it, then and get um learning something about me, then like
Mhm.
that's cool. I think like
Mhm.
I think it opens up possibility for people to know me better.
Yeah.
But I think that it's also probably pretty scary for someone to um reach out about that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't experienced too much of that, but yeah, we'll see when my book comes out. Maybe maybe
Yeah.
there'll be some interesting things to come of it.
And I mean, it's like interesting too because as we come to spaces to heal in our own life or
Hmm.
to create understanding and have different perspectives of those times, it was like timing on your end as well. So maybe it's just the timing of the, the readers, those who are part of your story. I just thought it was really
Totally.
just interesting because I mean that is something I hear a lot of people say. I remember hearing Mel Robbins, and she's like,
Hmm.
my first account was just like me and my kids, and like going to the pool and stuff like that. And she's like, and then I decided like I don't like what I do. I have to change what I'm doing. I want to do what I love. And so I started to like think about ideas of how could I sell myself. And she's like, I started to
Mm.
change my Instagram to be like, you can hire me, like I'm a speaker. But she's like, I
Yeah.
like didn't know what I was doing. And she's like, I remember feeling so much like even if it was just internal in your head, like just finger pointing from people who actually knew me and being like, I don't think you got what it takes, like that questioning from people, but
Mm-hmm.
just like blazing past that and seeing your potential and your
Hmm.
possibilities beyond people's view of you. Because, you
Yeah.
know, naturally people are going to just see you as like, 12-year-old Elise. Like it's just like because they know you that
Totally.
long. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's like,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, people, we love to put each other in boxes. And I think that like you just have to worry about your own box and like not try not to think about what other people are thinking about you,
yeah.
because who cares truly?
Yeah, yeah. And like what you said, like if it's not true to you, if it's not authentic to you, it's like
Yeah.
why it's not the best work anyway. Like it doesn't have the muchness of you if it's
Yeah.
like put through a filter of shoot, who's listening.
Yeah. Yeah. If I go into writing a poem worried about who's going to read it, then it's not even gonna like make it turn into anything. It's
Right.
just gonna be me staring at a blank page having anxiety. So
Yeah. And then it doesn't have its place to do the work in you that it's
yeah,
meant to do, right?
exactly.
That's like the whole
Yeah, yeah. So it's
portion of
like
that.
there's a lot of like really complicated emotions that come with that, like all being online and like having your work published and writing about vulnerable things. But when it comes down to it, like you just have to kind of like have a like tunnel vision of like I'm just doing this thing that I like to be doing, and if people want to read it and love me for it, then great. If people want to read it and like make judgments,
Mm-hmm.
then that's their business.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be mine.
No, no, not at all. It's
Yeah.
not your thing. Um, so I wanted to kind of circle back to when you're talking about having
Yeah.
your daughter and
Hmm.
like feeling this, I guess maybe it went from a feeling to a knowing. It was like you knew, you felt like you needed that you were going to write, but then it went to like, I know I'm going to write. And then the courage of actually creating that space to do it. Um,
Hmm.
and like you say, the first year of motherhood is a blur.
But I think that like mainly I just was kind of initially like inspired by like, oh my gosh, this is like look at this perfect
Mm-hmm.
little human in my hands, and holy shit, how hard is this? Like it just was a combination of like I am both like so happy and so like, oh my gosh, what is life right now? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was definitely that like duality of emotion where I just was like, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those were I think my first poems. That yeah, I think that bits of them have kind of bit grown into um kind of branched out into new poems,
Cool.
those ideas and like certain lines and things. But mostly, I think that it was really just kind of a mess.
Yeah.
But it was the first like completed, like I wrote a poem, check. Like I feel good about this at the
Mm-hmm.
time, which was really the most important thing. The fact that it didn't turn into anything is like whatever.
Do you think that helped you? Like I know with um there's a lot of feelings that are new feelings when you have children and little ones and what it requires of you, sleeplessness and all that kind of stuff. Do you think it
Hmm.
helped um, sort through this the plethora of emotions that come with motherhood? Being
Oh yeah.
like there's so much sadness meets happiness meets like there's just it's just a collide, you know. And a lot of times I don't
Yeah,
think we know what to
totally.
do with those things. And writing is such a great avenue to kind of like express the things that you can't even you just can't even speak aloud.
Most definitely. Yeah, writing has always been a way for me to kind of like sort things out. Like I love to journal and just kind of like free write. And I think poetry come like a lot of the time comes from moments like that where I'm just kind of like trying like I have this thing that I want to name, and I want to do it, in this way. And a lot of it starts as like a really messy paragraph or something where I just am
Mm-hmm.
like describing this thing. Um, and then, it kind of morphs into over time like a an actual poem that I wouldn't be embarrassed to share with the
Mm.
world.
Yeah.
But yeah, writing is totally a way that like I'm able to just like kind of sort things out, and if nothing is sorted, then I at least feel a little bit lighter
Yeah.
after I
Yeah.
write, even if it doesn't become anything, even if it's just a messy journal page.
Hmm. Do you find that writing takes you like you scroll through emotions when you're writing? By the
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I turn to writing when I'm I think I turn to writing when I am feeling an emotion strongly. So like if I am just feeling like really sad or something, I think that it's like I am able to channel it into something more productive almost,
mm,
and so it's like I'm feeling something strongly and I'm doing something about it instead of just like
mm.
sitting in it, you know.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
very cool. That's very
Yeah.
cool.
Sometimes, not all the time.
I mean that you
Sometimes I
can
just sit
that
in it.
yeah, but that you can recognize it and process it and get it out in whatever it is and
Yeah.
like have a tear if you need to as you scroll
Totally.
through it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, I am just so like inspired by you, inspired by the fact that you were courageous
Aw.
in a time when life is really busy. Like I think a lot of us,
Mhm.
especially when we have kids, we're just like, when then, when there's more
Mhm.
time, and
Totally.
there's just never more time when you're a parent. It's
Mhm.
all hands on deck. And so the fact that you've created space for that, um, in the midst of some of the busiest seasons of life, what a reminder to all of us that are listening, going like it's possible to reach towards your dreams, even if life feels like it's full and new.
Mm, totally. Yeah, for sure. I think that honestly, the new time restraints have kind of been in my favor
Mm,
because if you want to do something, you just have to find time. Like you
yeah.
really just have to do it. Whereas before having my daughter, it was like almost too wide open, where I was like, oh,
Mm,
I'll have time. Like I'll get it done anytime.
right.
Um, now it's like, if I want to get this poem done, I have an hour until she wakes up. you know?
You value time differently, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. If there's is there something you would want anyone to know about your work or about um motherhood? If there is like parting words for somebody, um do you have anything that comes to mind?
Hmm. Let's see. Well, I think when it comes to writing, or, insert any creative practice, painting, dancing, uh, knitting, whatever it
Hmm.
might be, um, it's, I think, just like reminding yourself that, like, you are the only one who can do your work. Like,
Mm,
no one else is going to do it for you. And
mm,
so it's your responsibility to just do it, and um, do it the best that you can, and put it out in the world or don't. Like that, I don't think that that's necessarily the important part. Um, but you know, you're there's like so much value in having a creative practice of any kind, especially if you're a mother.
mm.
I think that my days and my like relationship to myself and my relationship to um, my daughter and my husband, and just like everything in my daily life is enhanced by writing, and like taking the time for myself um, to just like do the thing that makes me feel like me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. Hmm.
hmm
That's so important. Whatever your medium is, to like make space for it. I think that's
Yeah,
the one
for
thing
sure.
that we can lose touch with sometimes, especially as we grow into adulthood. As kids, we're so busy with paper and glue and things like that, and then we can grow away from being playful with our words and with like our hands, or being creative. And what a beautiful outlet it is to express, through whatever avenue that might be. Um,
Totally. And you're the only one who can do it
yeah,
in the way that you can. Like no one else is going to do it for you. So you really are doing yourself and the world a disservice by not doing the thing that like you should be doing in your heart, you know?
yeah,
Like we all have that thing or had that thing where it's just like I know that I should be doing this thing and I'm not because of fear or time or whatever it might be, perfectionism.
yeah,
And yeah, so for me, it was just like, just do it and like do it bad
yeah.
and then see where it takes you.
Just show up for yourself, and like it's so much joy
yeah,
that can come out of doing the thing that's calling you, like the thing you don't know about.
totally.
Just listening to the inner voice and doing the thing.
Yeah, and just starting messy.
Yeah, yeah. I
hmm
Are you an artist? Like, because I've noticed like a lot of your pieces are like really extraordinary. Like they're just have so much color, and they're so alive in their own unique way. Where does that come from?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I love collage art. I think it's so fun, and like I love to just add a little like visual flair to a poem. So, yeah, I definitely love art. I am not very good at like drawing or painting. But collage art I can do. I definitely, yeah, enjoy doing that.
That's very cool. I love it. It makes
Thank
your
you.
work stand out in its own very unique way. Like it just
Thank
has its
you.
own,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. I definitely am not like, um, I don't, call myself an artist at all, but it's funny because people will, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I kind of am in that way, like a collage
Mhm.
artist, but it's not like the thing that comes to mind when I'm describing
When you
myself.
think of
It's
it.
funny. Yeah.
It's not in your bio.
But it's like I do it for all my poems, so like
Yeah. And
yeah.
it really sets it apart. I think that's what, like it just gives
Thank
its
you.
own, um, I don't know, you just like, Salvador Dali's work, you just know it when it's his. You're just like, oh yeah, it's so
Mhm.
different from anybody else, right? He just has that like essence where it's just so you. Like it's so branded to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
amazing. No. I always like to kind of when we come to the conclusion of our time together, I always like to kind of conclude with one question because I love hearing what's bringing people joy in their lives. And maybe it's today,
Mm.
maybe it was yesterday, or maybe something huge stands out from the month, but um, what is it for you?
Something that's bringing me so much joy is picking vegetables from the garden. We have a little
Mm,
garden out back, and we don't have like a huge harvest this year. We had so many more tomatoes last year, but we've
mm,
only had a little handful. But our zucchinis have like gone crazy. So yeah, I think like just getting some veggies from the garden and like prepping them for dinner, just like that little
mm.
ritual has been really fun this summer.
That's really
That's
amazing.
bringing me a lot of joy. Yeah, and it's really
Hmm.
fun to watch my daughter enjoy that too. She
I
loves
bet.
to go pick like a cucumber or something and
Aw.
just just like eat it. It's so cute.
It's those are such amazing like core memories, I think, because I think about gardening with
Hmm.
my grandma and she had an amazing
Yeah.
garden. And there's nothing quite like eating a cucumber like fresh out of the garden and like,
Oh,
taking a carrot and like
truly.
rubbing it on your leg and like now it's ready to eat,
Yes.
or like pea
Yes, I
pods or
know.
whatever.
It's the best.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
totally.
something so special about just eating it right from the earth. That's
Yeah.
I can I'm with you on that. I don't have a garden right
Yes.
now, but I am very much when I'm in a garden, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
That's my favorite thing about late summer is like
Mm,
just like an abundance of like fruits and vegetables and like the garden. At least my gardens always just like go crazy in August. So that's
that's
yeah, it's been really fun.
that's so nice. Get it already canned when you
Yeah.
can for the winter and
Yeah,
enjoy all that.
totally.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your story. I love just that arc of courage that came out of the whole
Mm,
was just as you birthed a baby, you like birthed a new career. You're like
totally. Exactly. Oh, I love that.
uh,
Yep. That's
no,
exactly what happened.
yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
No, it was my pleasure. Yeah, well, until next time, I can't wait to share your book with people, with the listeners. I'll put it in the
Thank
notes so
you.
people want to pre-order, they can.
Perfect. Yeah,
But
yep,
yeah,
it's available for pre-order now, so
okay, okay, I'll put that in the show notes so those of you who are
awesome.
listening get a pre-order. And thank you so much for being here. It's such a delight.
Thank you for having me.
Have an amazing rest of your day. I want to thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to listen to the Naked Podcast. It honestly means so much. If there's something in the episode that has moved you, share it with someone who might need to hear it too. And if you haven't already, give us a follow and leave a review. It helps so much to keep the momentum and keep the show growing. For more conversations, reflections, and ways to stay connected, check out the link in the show notes. Until next time. If you would like to connect with us or possibly share your story, please contact us at nakedwithjanelle@gmail.com. That's nakedwithjanelle@gmail.com. Thanks so much.